Witness is Angie Miller, Eastern States Director, Center for Environmental Health.
Thank you, Chairman Boxer and Ranking Member Vitter, for the opportunity to speak before you today. I also want to give a shout out to my senator, Senator Gillibrand. I'm Ansje Miller. I'm the Eastern States Director for the Center for Environmental Health. Our organization is committed to empowering parents to act as guardians for their children. Children aren't just little adults. Their bodies are still developing, so they are particularly vulnerable to chemical exposures, especially at critical windows of development. And anyone here with a toddler can attest to the fact that anything within reach will end up in that kid's mouth. So they have exposures that are very different from adults. Most Americans believe that if a product is on the store shelf, it's been tested for safety. But as the many previous witnesses before me testified, this is simply not true. For 37 years, TSCA has been a stunning public health failure, exposing American families to toxic chemicals. During that time, states have stepped into the regulatory void with laws to protect children and families. One such law has been talked about a lot today, which is California's Prop 65. Since 1996, the Center for Environmental Health has protected children and families from toxic chemicals using Prop 65. Under this law, we secure companies legally binding commitments to nationwide changes in their production practices, ending health threats from children's and other products. Our work has eliminated toxic chemicals in countless everyday products like this Curious George doll, which has high levels of lead in its face. And this lunchbox.
This guy?
That's the safe version, actually. That's the after.
Oh, good. Oh, this is the bad one.
Yeah, it's
This is after 65.
exactly. That's after we
Yeah.
made
No
agreement.
preemption, sir.
Do I get my time back for that?
Yes, yes, yes.
So this lunchbox, this is the before, and then this is the after. And combined with other states' laws on public health, the results of our work have paved the way for federal laws, like the Consumer Product Safety Improvement Act and numerous state and federal regulations. Dozens of state laws, like Prop 65, and those listed in the AG's letter, effectively protect people's health and serve as laboratories where critical reforms take shape for national consideration. I'd like to share a story about why states' laws are important. Marilyn Fuhrer was a 66-year-old retired Postal Service worker from Illinois. In 2007, she noticed that her grandson Jensen's plastic baby bib, made out of the same material as the lunchbox, which she read about in a news story, might have lead in it. It looked very much like this. She contacted her government officials, and unfortunately, they couldn't help her. So she contacted us. We took the baby bib, along with a bunch of others, and tested it with an independent lab and found that did indeed have very high levels of lead. So we did a report, used California's Prop 65, and with an agreement with Walmart, got them, within a week, they agreed to take the leady baby bibs out of their shelves nationwide. And this is something that the senator referenced earlier today. So now, when parents like Marilyn go to the store to buy a baby bib, they find something like this, which looks very much like the leady one. You could never tell the difference, and it costs the same price. So Marilyn was a hero. Despite this important success, the states cannot address all of TSCA's deficiencies. American families are counting on Congress to address those deficiencies with an all-of-the-above approach that protects people nationwide from toxic chemicals while preserving the states' rights to address federal gaps that leave our children vulnerable to toxic chemicals. TSCA clearly failed Marilyn and her grandson. As founding members of Safer Chemicals Healthy Families, CEH has been working to fix TSCA. But the current version of the Chemical Safety Improvement Act would also fail Maryland. As previous witnesses have mentioned, CSIA contains a number of fatal flaws. To spotlight a few, it lacks deadlines for regulatory action, It's based on a safety determination standard that fails to ensure safety. It provides no specific protections for vulnerable populations like children, workers, and people living in contaminated communities. And it allows companies to conceal data about the health hazards of chemicals. In short, CSIA would not provide EPA the legal tools and the financial resources necessary to protect families like Maryland's from toxic chemicals. And instead, CSIA would tie the hands of the states, concentrating regulatory power in the exclusive hands of the EPA without the resources to adequately do the job. If the CSIA were in place as drafted, when Maryland contacted us, children across the country would still be at risk of lead poisoning from their bibs at every meal. Given the success of state laws, it is imperative that CSIA preserve states' 10th Amendment rights to enforce their own laws, protecting their citizens from the toxic chemicals that will inevitably slip through CSIA's cracks. If the current version of CSIA, with its many deficiencies and preemption provisions, is adopted, Congress will be putting millions of American children and families at risk.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank the members of the committee for its efforts to address this important issue and pledging my organization's commitment to working to improve this.
Thank you. We